Hello, valued viewers. I hope you're all doing very well. Okay, so the Texas and Pacific Railroad isn't a well-known one, but it fell under the railroad mogul James Gould and his Missouri Pacific Railroad lines. And while a subsidiary of the Missouri Pacific, the Texas and Pacific maintained a certain degree of independence throughout its history. And the railroad always had lofty ambitions about reaching the West Coast from Texas. And although chartered to the West Coast, it never so much as got within the same time zone of the Pacific Coast. Although it finally did make it there when parent company Missouri Pacific merged with the Union Pacific in 1981. And I wanted to do this particular video because the date is exactly 20 years before my birth. And so that date is May 21st, 1952, and a screaming snake of 8 runaway railroad tank cars loaded with highly explosive natural gas raced over a 10-mile stretch of track to hurtle into a standing switch engine and explode into a blazing inferno amidst the West Odessa, Texas warehouse district. The fiery blast, which resulted in the burning of 2 warehouses and grotesque twisting of steel derailed tank cars, led to the lost speculation, which varied from $250,000 to $1 million in damages. Almost miraculously, no lives were lost, and no one was believed seriously injured in the freak accident, which blazed for an estimated 8 hours. Caught in the flames were the Jack Rainosek Sales Company Wholesale Oil and Grease, 101 North Belmont, and City Transfer and Storage, 102 North Belmont. Firefighters operated courageously in the face of possible explosions from the high-octane gasoline tanks, battled the blaze an estimated 8 hours. They used every facility and man available and called upon an additional pumper for Midland Fire Department. So, the chain of events leading up to the costly fire started at the Shell Oil Company Penwell loading dock at Doro, located about 10 miles west of Odessa. According to Clyde Gray, superintendent of the gasoline plant, the 8 cars had been loaded with gasoline at the Shell loading rack Wednesday evening and were left by plant employees on a spur for shipment to Warren Petroleum Corporation. The shipment had already been billed, he added. He said the gasoline, called casing head gasoline, has 26-pound vapor pressure and was a natural liquid. The gasoline is valued at 5 cents a gallon wholesale. Another employee, Buddy Riles, a loading rackman, said that when the crew left work Wednesday evening, the 8 cars were inside the frogs, safety devices to keep cars from rolling off. The frogs must be released by manpower before they can be taken to the main line of the Texas Pacific Railroad, he said. Now, obviously, the prices quoted are from 1952, not today. It was believed the cars were moved by switch engine shortly after 6 p.m. to the main line in preparation for hooking them onto a locomotive and then unhooked from the engine. The cars moved off on the downgrade track at 6:15 p.m., picking up speed estimated by startled witnesses at 75 miles an hour at their peak. Employees of the Stanolin oil and gas loading rack, located about 4 miles east of the Shell rack, spotted the runaway cars, and according to reports, 2 employees got in a pickup truck in a desperate attempt to reach Odessa first and notify agents to clear the tracks. The men told officers the cars were going too fast for them to outrun them. Another employee, U.A. Kemp, told police captain Johnny Wise the cars were moving about 75 miles an hour when they passed the loading rack. A phone call was reportedly placed to the Texas and Pacific Railroad's depot here, but the car's limited time made it impossible to act on time. Witnesses to the collision of the delinquent cars and the switch engine and the engine crew, which had been moving empty cars, apparently they heard the approaching rumble of the gasoline tankers and leapt to safety. Time of the actual impact was given at about 6:23 p.m. 4 of the gasoline cars bucked immediately and a 5th was partially derailed. An empty boxcar was hurled from the tracks and burned. Assistant Fire Chief Bill Edmiston said he believed none of the cars of the gasoline exploded immediately, in that they were ripped open by the impact and the flames caught the gasoline that way. The fire rapidly spread to the Rainosek Sales Company warehouse, which housed numerous items including thousands of dollars worth of grease, oils, ropes, and other merchandise. The sheet metal building built on cement blocks was considered a total loss. Owner E.P. Rainosek was not available for comment at noon today. The other warehouse, the city transfer and storage building, caught fire at a southwest wing and was badly burned. Company manager John W. Brumlow said today the building housed numerous articles including air conditioners, fiber materials, water softener, chemicals, and many other items. He estimated a 75% loss in building and merchandise, but said no dollar estimate on the losses could be made immediately. A truck owned by the Odessa Cartage Company and a pickup owned by the Renoset Company, both parked between the warehouses, were not badly damaged. Brumlow said he and other employees managed to move several of their trucks out of danger. Firefighters headed by Fire Chief Charlie Meadows moved 6 pumpers and boosters to the scene. No chemicals were used, but use of fire nozzles made it possible to encase the flames with water, shutting off the oxygen supply. About 50 Odessa firefighters answered the alarm along with 8 Midland firefighters. 3 Halliburton oil cementing trucks aided in the firefighting by bringing in loads of water. 3 of the gasoline cars were moved from danger by winch trucks manned by volunteers who used cables to drag them to a safe distance. Firefighters kept a steady spray of water on the tanks to keep them from exploding. The tanks are equipped with relief valves, which gasoline plant officials believe played an important part in keeping the tanks from exploding. The flames played out about 3 a.m. today, but firefighters stood by this morning to halt any new outbreak of fire and to aid cleaning out the tanks. The remainder of the fire crew were engaged in getting their equipment ready for service for the following day. Okay, so that's pretty much the wrap-up of the incident. There is no ICC report or anything like that. It's just the article from the Odessa Fire Department archives. But while doing this video, I was just reminded of the movie Unstoppable with Denzel Washington the whole time. And I just remember how that locomotive in that movie got to be a runaway in itself, which is based on a true story, as matter of factly. But I can just imagine the Texas and Pacific Railroad employees, the sheer horror of watching those railroad cars, speed down the tracks, gaining speed, and they can't stop them or do anything, So yeah, it's for me, it was just a fun, video that kind of just made me think of that. And of course, like I said, I was born 20 years later, So I hope you enjoyed the video. It's a little brief, basic, but I had fun doing it, so I hope you enjoyed listening to it. So I'll wrap up the video, and thank you for watching the video. And if you like the content, please hit the like button, and also subscribe if you haven't done so. And don't forget about the Super Thanks button being on. It's next to the like button on the taskbar, and any amount is greatly appreciated. And if you don't want to contribute that way to the channel's efforts, you can always visit our print shop at Nickel Plate Limited on Etsy.com. And we thank you once again.